While I'm somebody who really likes playing cozy games, I tend to get easily bored when playing farming games. Games like Stardew Valley, which I really do like, I tend to last until maybe the autumn and then I'm kinda done with the concept. Though I have finished Stardew Valley, or at least the first 3 years before all of the additions came to the game. But Grimshire is something a little bit different. It has one difference to it from other farming games that made me actually quite hooked on it. In the background of this video, you're going to be seeing gameplay from my first season of Grimshire because I want to avoid any major spoilers. Currently, the game is in early access, so only 1 year is out, but the developers are working hard on updating it, and I found this 1 year to be really good, and I am excited to see what is coming in the future. So let me tell you about the game, and maybe it will entice you to try it as well. All I knew about Grimshire when I started playing it was that it was a bit of a dark fairy tale mixed with Stardew Valley, and the Stardew Valley sort of feeling really matches because the main gameplay is quite similar. Now you start the game by creating your character. In this game, everyone is an animal, so you can either be a bunny, a fox, or a bear. Whatever you choose can bring some perks and some drawbacks, one of the main things being that animals are either herbivores or carnivores, except the bear that can eat both, so you get more stamina from, well, either herbivore or carnivore food, but there is nothing stopping you from eating the other food. It is simply not the best for your digestive system, so you're not gonna get as much energy from it. And that is the same with the rest of the village. The village is full of other animals of different species, being a good mix of carnivores and herbivores. Now, as I said before, this is a bit of a darker Stardew Valley, and it starts off pretty dark. You are not inheriting the farm from a family member or anything cute like that. Instead, a local merchant that sails between the different villages has found you and one other person injured in the capital. They brought you to Grimshire as there is a doctor there that can hopefully help you. All the news you have is apparently the capital was on fire, and you and this other person are the only people he managed to save. And his plan is to immediately set sail again to go back to the capital to try to figure out what is going on. In the meantime, you get a chance to get accustomed with the town. As you quickly realize, Grimshire is a production town. The people here buy in fresh produce from other areas, and then they make things out of them. Meaning you have a furniture maker, a baker, even though they also do have a fisher and a rancher, a blacksmith and a carpenter in the area. But there is not a single farmer. The only farm in the area has in fact been abandoned, and considering that you might have to stay there for a while, the villagers allow you to take over the farm if you would like, which is where you get your titular farm to live in, like in every other cozy farming game. And like in all of them, you're gonna come across the usual bits. You will start by planting crops, cutting down trees, and trying to sort of clean up the area because of course the farm is a mess, as it is in all the other games. And of course, like in other games of this type, your first mission is to go meet the other villagers. Though this time it is actually more important than you might think, because every time you meet a villager, they are gonna give you something that is gonna help you on the farm. And these include your tools of the trade, or even ways to preserve food, because preserving food will actually become quite important. But the villagers themselves are nice and diverse. There are some romanceable options, though I have not managed to actually fully romance anybody yet. After all, we only have 1 year out so far. And there is a lot of things that will happen during that year. But I found the people to be quite nice and enjoyable. Throughout the year, they will sometimes give you quests, and if you finish them, they will give you something handy back. Sometimes it's nicely preserved food, or maybe some tools that you need to help make your farm better. And luckily, you don't have to guess if somebody has a quest for you. In the villager menu, there will actually just be a sign next to a villager who has a quest. And if you aren't sure where they are, you can actually find the villagers on the map, making it so much easier to actually hunt them down across the different areas of the game. And while the game isn't massive, there is still quite a bit of area to cover if you're looking for a specific villager. Now, the main goal of the game is to make sure the village stays fed. There is a larder in the village, and that is where everybody eats from. Every day something is added to the larder and people take something from the larder. You are not the only person adding things to the larder, but you are the one who is adding the main amount of things. As I said before, this village buys most things in, and one of the main challenges of the game is that trade is not as abundant as it used to be. So your farming is gonna become more important as you go on. And with that, you're gonna want to not just learn how to farm a lot of food, but also make it last for as long as possible, which means figuring out how to preserve it. And to do that, you have to figure out the game's collectibles. The game basically has a museum, and every time you find something you haven't found before, be it a crop or a fish or a stone, you can take it to the museum and it is added to the catalog there. Every 25 items you get a new discovery that makes your life on the farm either easier or more productive, be it ways to easier water the crop or ways to preserve the food. And this balancing of making sure everybody is getting enough food and keeping the village alive is what most enticed me to the game, especially because people can die. Not just from starvation, but also from the events that are happening in the game. This is, after all, a dark story, and as you heard from the very beginning, the capital is on fire, which is not great. And from there, things just get worse. I am not gonna tell you what is gonna happen, but I was actually quite delighted over just how bad things could be. And as things get worse, you're gonna be dealing with different challenges. Some of them require a weekly quota of food into the larder, others require building something in the village. In those cases, there is a problem, two villagers are gonna come up with a solution, and you pick which solution you wanna go for. And then you simply have to gather the required material to do it. Other villagers will be adding materials in as well, but they do it quite slowly, so you're gonna have to handle the bulk of the gathering. And these are of course all timed. If you fail, well, there are consequences. And sometimes these consequences are that somebody is gonna die. During my first playthrough, I had some deaths, and it was quite sad to see the people who knew that person actually be devastated. With the game ending on winter 28, as they haven't completed the second year yet, I decided to start over again, and I am currently playing through it again, this time hoping that everybody survives my first winter. But it is definitely no easy feat. But if you find the game to be too challenging or too easy, there are different difficulty levels. Though I played it on normal and I found the balance to be absolutely perfect, it feels unfair, but in the right way. So while Grimshire is not ready yet, it is in early access, and I usually don't talk much about early access games, I wanted to talk about this one because I think this is an excellent game. It has so much heart in it, the music is lovely, the art style is wonderful, I love the twists and changes to the story, and I have so much fun trying to figure out how to better make sure we have enough food and enough of everything. And while this game has no combat in it, it does have a mine, but it's just for mining, there are no monsters. There is so much tension in this game because you constantly are struggling with the idea that people might die from starvation. Bad things might happen and you are just gonna have to try to be prepared for them. So I had so much fun with it, and I am still having so much fun with it. So I just wanted to talk about it. So if you're looking for a farming game that is a little bit different, maybe a little bit darker, with more consequences of if you fail, then I highly recommend checking out Grimshire. But that's just my thought. Tell me, what do you think? Is Grimshire something you would be interested in? Or have you maybe tried it already? And if you were to play Grimshire, Would you play a bunny, a fox, or a bear? Tell me all about it down in the comments, and while you're there, do the good YouTube stuff by liking and subscribing, and in the end all I wanna say is takk fyrir að horfa og eigðu yndislegan dag.